Hello and welcome everybody to the Hispanic Patriot Podcast, a weekly podcast broadcast live from a secret, undisclosed location here in the heart of the great state of Colorado. My name is Nicholas Razzo, and without further ado, everybody, we are proud to welcome our many new subscribers to our channel. Here we speak the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help us God. Here is our intrepid patron, Hugo Chavez Ray. Give it up for the Hispanic Patriots, everybody.
Hello. Welcome, everyone, to another great edition of the Hispanic Patriot. We've got a boatload of topics to cover with you tonight, including some interesting developments on some of the issues of the day. But first, before we get started, we have some breaking news out of El Paso County, Colorado, which is Colorado Springs. So take it away, Nick.
Absolutely, everybody. Well, thank you for joining us. And today we have breaking news for you right away. A little bit shaken up, actually. Not going to lie, because this is very close to, well, home, frankly. In so many ways, more ways than one, to be honest. We do not want to see these things here. But unfortunately, we have to bring you the news.
Right now, we are following a shots fired situation during an immigration enforcement operation in Colorado Springs. Federal immigration officers are looking for two people who they say allegedly rammed an ICE vehicle in El Paso County and left the scene. ICE says an officer fired 3 shots into that vehicle and that the 2 people are in the country illegally. This video is from Air Tracker 7 over the scene in Black Forest near Colorado Springs. It's unclear right now if anyone was shot. The El Paso County Sheriff's Office has issued a shelter-in-place order for residents along Burgess Road in that area. Right now, it's also unclear if any of the suspects have criminal records. We're working to find out if they do or do not. Denver 7 has a crew on its way to the scene right now, and we will have a full update when we learn more.
Well,
Wow.
right there. That is shocking right there, folks. Black Forest is not what we would consider the ghetto.
No, absolutely not. That's high-dollar properties there, so it leads me to believe that there may be some cartel infiltration in there somewhere, because they're the only ones with that kind of cash. So
Yes, we knew that there was a Tren de la Agua cell that was trying to be opened up here in Colorado Springs, and what people got to realize, they're like mushrooms, people. These cartels, these gangs, whatever their names are, they're like mushrooms. They pop up, they pop down, and we got to get right to the root of the problem, which is no more drugs coming through that open border. It's got to be closed, people. It's got to be closed. Not just through Mexico as well, through Canada as well. People forget that one.
yeah, well, not to make light of the issue, but they're like playing whack-a-mole. You knock them down in one section and they pop up somewhere else. I actually read an article recently and saw a YouTube video about cartel activity in the southern part of Colorado, where sheriffs, I believe it was a sheriff that they've intercepted a couple vehicles of illegals that were carrying large caches of ammunition. And they were headed to a place that was about 50 miles from the Supermax in Florence, Colorado. And the theory, or I guess, the thought that came to mind is they were trying to say that maybe they were going to plan to break El Chapo out of prison. And I mean, that's a little far-fetched. If you know Florence, Colorado, and the Supermax, you'd better be bringing 10 armies to try to get into that place. This isn't your Mexican prison where you can tunnel out and or have somebody storm the gates, so to speak. But
you're not bribing anybody either around there, neither. Got to say that.
Yeah, I mean, if you know the geography, the Supermax is situated all by itself in the middle of nowhere, and they can see you coming from miles away. So nobody's going to sneak up on the place. But I mean, that was just something that went off on a tangent there. But this we'll have to.
But it makes to the point that we have so much here in Colorado that we don't think about or talk about, and we need to start talking about it, because that's how you get rid of evil criminals. Is that you talk about it. It's like cockroaches in the light; they scatter. The more attention we put on criminals, the more they can't do what they want to do to us. Our community is above having this kind of thing in it. We deserve a better standard of living.
Yeah, and I think the cartels are running a little scared because President Trump has unveiled some, well, I would consider some veiled threats, saying that we're going to come into Mexico and wipe you out. And the president of Mexico said, "No way, U.S. troops are coming into our country." And I said, "What are you going to do about it?"
Well, they did. The last time they came in, it wasn't so successful, unfortunately, for Mexico. And that's the thing. People have to understand that we in America are tired of this neo-opium war that is being fought against us by China and other countries, and using Mexico and the countries that our families came here from as essentially mules to hurt the country that we ended up in, the country that is our republic. We got to get patriotic about this, people, because at the end of the day, they're hurting us on multiple fronts.
And the fentanyl is
terrible.
Which is terrible. I mean,
God rest those people who have passed from it.
You hear like almost every day now on the news of somebody overdosing on fentanyl, and that's a dangerous drug.
It's so easy because, again, it works very much like heroin, but people who are used to heroin, they can't do it the same as fentanyl. Fentanyl is so much more powerful. Oftentimes, they cut fentanyl into other things. It's a terrible situation. We are having kids die at tremendous numbers that we've never seen before.
Yeah, that's usually the case. Somebody takes a capsule thinking it's one thing and it's laced with fentanyl. And, it takes like a really minute amount of fentanyl to kill you.
It does.
In fact, a little bit of less than a gram is enough to kill 100 people or more. It
does. It's very sad. And that's why, just from my generation to my generation, if I can't convince you kids to stop doing drugs, God, just make sure you at least test what you have. At least test what you have. You can do that. There are chemical kits you can get. If I can't convince you to put down the pipe or whatever you're doing, at least test your stuff so you know what you're doing so you don't die. That's if you can get redeemed, you're alive. But when you're dead, it's over. So don't let the Chinese take another victim. That's all I got to say about that. Protect yourself, kids. Get clean. Stay safe.
So we'll we'll keep an eye on that situation in Colorado
as it
Springs, and as we know more, we'll report more on it. Right now, I want to jump over to the next story that we had, and that is, of course, the Midtown shooter in Manhattan, mass shooter that just went into an office building, drove from Vegas all the way to New York City with a high-powered weapon, and proceeded to kill some people. Luckily, he only killed 3, and then he turned the gun on himself. But
they often do.
One of the fallen was a police officer that was in the lobby of that building. In fact, his funeral was today.
Just wrong place, wrong time, right there. Totally innocent.
And I read a little bit about the story of that officer, and he was an immigrant from India that had been here for a while, and he was I think detective first class is what they said he was, but he had a family and loved America. He was a good patriot, and to be gunned down like that is just sick. But let's peek in on the story for that event. That was Monday, the 28th, in Manhattan. Here we go.
The latest in the Midtown mass shooting, and we are learning chilling new details about exactly what unfolded inside that building on Park Avenue. Investigators have combed through all of the surveillance cameras and are describing the horror they saw as some of the heroes that emerged.
There's the NFL employee shot in the lobby, but somehow managed to call upstairs to his colleagues to alert them that a gunman was in the building, and this security guard shot and killed as he tried to hit the panic button.
And remarkably, up on the 33rd floor, a cleaner nearly came face to face with a gunman, but she managed to run away as he opened fire. And moments later, a young worker who took cover in a safe room later killed after she left the room, thinking the coast was clear.
These details emerging as the NYPD and the city honor the police officer who was killed. And we are learning more about the gunman in the semi-automatic.
I have to say something right here. CNN, MSNBC, and some of these other leftist organizations, you know what they reported? A white guy.
Yeah.
Okay? Does this look like a white guy to you?
Maybe if I didn't tell her.
Our coverage begins with Eyewitness News reporter Kimberly Richardson live in Midtown.
Back to me.
Well, Sade and Mike, while investigators continue going over every square inch of this building, NYPD officers in Nevada are gathering new crucial information. Shane Tamar's work supervisor says he's the one that sold the weapon used here to the 27-year-old, fully assembled for $1,400, along with the BMW he drove cross country. It's not clear if that supervisor knew what was going to happen, a heinous crime that has shattered many people's sense of security. A show of gratitude, Al's co-workers thanking him as we sat on the steps of 345 Park Avenue days after Shane Tamara opened fire, killing 4 people and injuring a 5th.
I considered them all family.
Blackstone executive Wesley LePatner seen here speaking in a meeting. Al's friend and security guard, Aland Atian, both fatally gunned down in the lobby of the building where Al worked in corporate dining, ran the kitchen on the 26th floor.
I got to walk past her office every day, knowing that she's not going to be here, knowing that when I come through on the Lexington side, I won't see Al.
At 6:28 Monday evening, the first 911 call came in. Tamara walked through a revolving door and immediately opened fire, killing NYPD officer Didarul Islam. The gunman then shot an NFL employee not far away in the lobby. Though critically injured, the 41-year-old didn't give up.
He didn't call 911. He called his friends to tell him upstairs what was happening. You guys, like that, I just got shot downstairs. Get cover. You got to fortify those doors.
Tamar then fatally shot Atian before he could get to a panic button that would have stopped the elevators. For some reason, the gunman allowed a woman to walk off the elevator without incident. But once on the 33rd floor, Tamar again started firing. A cleaning lady there heard the gunfire.
He sees her. She makes a right. He makes a left. If she would have made that left, they would have ended up with each other. He would have took her down.
All of this as employees ran into safe rooms. Julia Hyman was in one, but came out and was fatally shot. Al got off work about 3 hours before the mass killing, tells me he's not sure he can step foot back in the building.
I would love to get over the fear and to get over the hurt and get over the pain. I can't even fathom it.
Now, officers also found 100 rounds of ammunition in Tamara's home and a second letter. In it, he apologizes to his parents, writing, quote, "When I look into you and Dad's eyes, all I see is disappointment. I love you, Mama. I'm sorry." For now, we're live in Midtown. Kimberly Richardson, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
Turning now to the latest in the Midtown.
That's sick. Another sick individual. I mean,
Well, and that's what they usually are, is that there's no ability that they have. You know, if there's some grievance you have, it's a matter of you have to do that, complete that grievance in some kind of real way. We saw this, I think, with the other executive who was shot. We see so much of this anger and crime-filled New York as well, totally chaos New York, no ability to stop any of this from happening. So much for gun-free zones in New York, but It's just terrible. It's just terrible. That's the best light I can make out of the situation.
Did you see the photo? The guy just walking calmly down the street with a AR hanging on his side, and nobody thought to do anything or report or call somebody and say, "Hey, this guy's walking down the street with an AR."
Right? Otherwise, I'd be like, oh, it's just another day in New York City. No, this isn't GTA 4. Like, what is this?
Good Lord. I mean, that would have been the first thought in my mind if I saw somebody walking down the street with an AR.
You're like, Orale, Holmes, you got to see this. Get down here right now. Like,
what are these
something's
people
gonna happen.
thinking, man? It's, I don't understand.
Unless you're just so, into your phone and just not, maybe they thought it was a movie. Who knows? Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. But it really shows,
no.
Hugo, I think what it really is, it shows how few heroes we have left in the world.
Well, in New York City, of all places where the term see something, say something
came
from, you would think people are in tune to that. See something, say something. No, they just let this guy walk. Like, I think that picture was taken like 2 blocks from the building he was headed to. And the reports are that he was allegedly targeting the NFL for a grievance that he had. But he went to the wrong floor. Okay. He didn't know where the NFL was located. So he went to the wrong floor, killed innocent people that had nothing to do with the NFL.
And I don't mean this as an insult. I genuinely don't mean. I wonder. I wish this guy was still alive. Number one, so justice could be done. But number two, to check this guy's IQ score, because it can't. You know what I mean? It couldn't have been high. This seems like something somebody does out of desperation, maybe for attention. Who knows? But none of these people should have lost their lives, especially the people who are doing nothing but protecting the building. That's very sad.
Yeah. Well, the officer on the first floor got caught off guard, or he might have at least been able to return fire. But
this guy was determined for some reason.
From what I understand, he was caught unaware. In other words, maybe he was turning, looking at something or whatever. I don't know.
It could be 1 second, it could be 1 second, and that's.
It doesn't take long, And if this guy saw a uniform, he probably shot
first, asked questions. I don't know.
He didn't have any questions.
All right, no, he lost all his questions when he walked out the house that morning.
But of course, what do the lefties do? Less than 48 hours after the shooting, what are they doing? They're calling for banning guns, banning automatic weapons, banning, what do they call it? Weapons of war. These people have never been to war if they think people in war are fighting with an AR-15.
Yeah, really. It's like if you think that putt can do better than, the whole machine gun bit, then you're crazy. You're crazy.
Yeah, but they like to hyperbolize everything. And
well, these people don't know what 3-round burst means, much less semi-automatic, much less suppressive fire, much less what assault actually means in a military sense. That's the thing about gun ignorance or any form of ignorance. It ultimately hurts people, and that's why we're against it.
Yeah, absolutely. And not only that, but it's part of our Constitution, and you ain't taking our rights. I don't care who you are.
Hey, come and take them.
Yeah, I'm like Charlton Heston. You can have my guns when you pry them out of my cold, dead hands.
See, there are some references that we millennials know from your day, Hugo.
There you go.
Timeless ones, timeless.
All right, so our prayers and thoughts go out to the families of those who lost their life, in particular this officer who bravely served his city, loved his country, and guess what? He wasn't a native-born American, but he loved America. So there you go, folks, for all you...
America, in a sense,
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. But we pray for his family and his children that they got left behind. He was only 33 years old, I think.
What's very unfortunate is actually he is due to have a 3rd child in 1 month.
Oh, man, that's even worse.
But you know what? But that's the thing is your daddy's a hero. Your dad's a myth and a legend now. And those of us who have lost parents early, we know what that's like.
Yep. And before we leave this story, there's one more video that I wanted to share regarding this gives us a little more information about what was going on.
Without force protection.
If you look at these surveillance camera images, it captures Timura walking into 345 Park Avenue, which is a 44-story office building, before officials say he opened fire. They say that he killed several people before turning the gun onto himself.
An apparent motive for New York gunman Shane Devon Timura, who killed 4 people in New York, has been revealed.
Somebody walking around the streets of Manhattan with an assault rifle. It's a little bit scary. You know, it's a lot like the Luigi thing. United Healthcare all over again.
The NYPD revealed that Timura targeted the NFL over the belief he struggled with a neurodegenerative disease, chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or CTE.
In that note, Mr. Timura claimed to be suffering from CTE, possibly from playing high school football, and he blamed the NFL. Mr. Timura mentions a Frontline documentary from 2013 on the topic, and former NFL players who suffered from the disease.
CTE can only be diagnosed definitively after death, and it can induce symptoms such as impulsive behavior and suicidal thoughts. A note left by the murderer after committing suicide reportedly cited the NFL and stated that he blamed playing American football and also asked for his brain to be studied after death.
It appears as though he was going after the employees at the NFL, the building. 345 housed the NFL's oil company there as well, but we're still going through the suicide note to zero in on the exact reason. But at this time, it appears as though something that is attached to his belief he experienced CTE from playing in the NFL.
New York Mayor Eric Adams revealed that there was reason to believe Timura likely intended to go to the offices of the National Football League, but targeted the wrong office.
There are 2 different elevator banks, and as you know, anyone that's in many of our corporate buildings, some banks don't go to every floor. He appeared to have gone to the wrong bank, and he ended up on the floor of Rudin Management. And you see on the videos that he discharged the weapon several times.
Off-duty NYPD officer Diderul Islam, security officer Aland Etienne, associate at Rudin Property Management Julia Hyman, and Wesley Lepatner, a top executive at real estate business Blackstone, were killed in Timura's rampage.
But if this nation misses yet another moment to do what is right that they've neglected to do for decades, then shame on them.
There you go.
This is the time to stand up and say,
oh, shut up.
I thought that was Hillary Clinton for a second.
Give me a break. That's the governor Hope.
We don't need to be listening to her, yeah. So this guy was effed in the head and thought that he needed to go out and do something to make a point. And
they said, I think Mayor Adams aired, he did not play in the NFL. He played football, but
he's not old enough to play for the NFL at that point. Not experienced enough. Like what the heck? Yeah. Also, I got a question. Like interesting, Devon Timura. That's kind of interesting right there. So we have sort of a Blasian thing going on. I saw this is how the one leftist rag I read described him as a Manhattan high-rise dweller. That's how they put. I guess they couldn't say black and Chinese at the same time, so that's what they went with.
What? He wasn't even from New York. He drove from Las Vegas.
Right?
He lived in Las Vegas, and he drove from Las Vegas to New York for the specific purpose of taking people out at the NFL.
I just realized. So no one can ever complain about what Kyle Rittenhouse did ever again in terms of going from one side, to the other, because this is driving all the way from Las Vegas to here, and into a gun-free zone.
How many state lines did he cross?
Yeah. So we need more gun laws, Miss Kathy. That's what's going to do it.
Yeah, that's what we need. We need to ban guns, and we need more laws that only law-abiding citizens pay attention to, while the criminals just do what the hell they want.
Exactly.
I'm so sick of these anti-gun people, man. It's like every time there's a shooting, we got to ban guns. Oh, we got to ban guns.
Let me get the sign. Some children died. Like, it's terrible. It's ridiculous. Like, but that's why we here fight for the truth, nothing but the truth. Guns don't kill people. Psychos driving from Las Vegas to gun-free zones do.
Yep. All right.
And God rest the victims, of course.
There'll be more discovered as we go on that story. So
yeah, especially as we literally pick apart that guy's brain, apparently.
Yep, that's what they're probably going to do. All right, now let's bring on the story that is being called by some the most scandalous and corrupt event in the history of the U.S. Now, that's saying something, considering some of the things that have taken place in this country. I don't know if I agree with that statement, but
It seems like a little marketing strategy right there.
this
But I still want to hear it.
story is definitely a bombshell, and it's not like we haven't known about it. We on the conservative side of the aisle have known who Obama was, who Hillary Clinton was, who James Comey was, who James Brennan and James Clapper were, and what they perpetrated against President Trump after the 2016 election. They used a fake, phony dossier called the Steele dossier,
which was disgusting,
which was paid for by the Clinton Foundation. Okay, and who was running against Trump in 2016? None other than Hillary herself, the Queen Bee.
Rodham herself.
Yep. So there's so much that went on from 2016 to 2018 and 19, and these people, Comey getting phony FISA warrants and lying to the court as FBI director. Okay, you had the CIA cooking up books and narratives to falsely support the narrative that President Trump was some sort of Russian asset. Okay, he was compromised, and that Putin
applied with prostitutes in Moscow. Literally, like there was no subtlety. If you haven't actually read the Steele dossier, reading it will be the thing that helps you understand this was never anything to begin with. Even I forget the Obama's green job czar. I forget his name. He's so irrelevant now. Called it a nothing burger. Yep. Called it a nothing burger.
But now, what's going on is the Justice Department is preparing to go after at least 4 individuals, and let's see what they're talking about.
Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley is out with a new batch of documents pertaining to the Trump-Russia investigation. And the newly declassified documents were allegedly held in burn bags in a secret room at FBI headquarters. Those would be contained.
Get that. For those of you that don't know what a burn bag is, it's where the FBI puts documents that need to be burned. They're destroyed because of their classification and their secrecy. So these, for some reasons, whoever was in charge of those burn bags made the decision to not incinerate them. And so we have to wonder why. They knew something maybe, and they said, maybe these need to be preserved. So let's listen a little bit more.
Containers that hold classified docs meant to be destroyed after a specified time. It's 29 pages, an annex or addendum to the 2023 Durham report, exposing a reported Clinton campaign plot to falsely tie President Trump to Russia. Here's Chairman Grassley.
I think we need maximum transparency on all the schemes that were going on 10 years ago to either stop Trump from being elected or after he was elected to ruin his presidency. And that's what this Durham report is all about. It was all effort of total distraction and to make it look like Russia was playing a very major role in helping Trump to be elected, and now we know none of that was true. And now with this Durham report annex out, it finally proves that the FBI was covering up.
Look, the story.
And that's a bombshell. I mean, people's heads need to roll. Some people need to be perp walked. I'm hoping they can get the information needed, take it to a grand jury, and indict these people, because this kind of thing cannot happen in our republic. This is not a third world country, although some people are trying to turn it into one. We are still the United States of America, the number one world superpower, and we have a president who loves America, who has done everything he can to bring us back from the brink of Marxism introduced by President Obama. Okay, so I even almost try to hurl when I say President Obama, because he's when he first came out, I correctly titled him the Manchurian Candidate. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch the movie The Manchurian Candidate, and you'll see what I'm talking about. I'm not going to get into details on that.
No spoilers, Hugo. No spoilers.
But, this is just beyond the pale. I mean, the Democrats want to call the president every name in the book, call him a pedophile, a traitor, a fascist, a Nazi. I mean, but when it comes to these people who are actually acting like Nazis and fascists, nobody wants to bat an eye. What the hell?
Well, I think it's because the real thing that we got to say is that what these people are really acting like is something much worse. They're acting like Stalinists who wanted to have a purge, a trial against their enemies. And that's what we saw here. Being Polish, we remember the Katyn massacre. They really, and I think, Hugo, you remember, this went so far before Trump, because you and I were around during the Tea Party. You and I were around before there was a central leader, a central figure to the MAGA movement. And so when Trump says, they want you, I'm just standing in the way, this is what they were trying to do to make sure they could get him out of the way as soon as possible. And I think it's especially ironic because, as many of you know, I'm a Republican who goes a little against the grain. I support Ukraine's war effort. And when we see Donald Trump speak in fire against Xi Jinping and President Putin and these people who have been ignoring our tariffs, ignoring our sanctions, do we see a puppet for Russia? No, we see an American hero, an American badass who is only interested in his own country. We'll talk about that a little bit more when we look at his trade deal he just had with Europe. So this man is far from a Russian puppet, but these Democrats were willing to make it a national security issue. This is a national security issue. So we're not just a bunch of, I don't mean to be, we're not just a bunch of MAGA boomers, MAGA millennials saying, oh, heads need to roll, we need to get prison. No, we're saying this. People need to go to jail because it's a national security issue when you're tying our movement's leader to a foreign country that he's not tied to. When you're making Americans say, we need a revolution against this evil dictator, you are creating a national security issue that China and other countries can exploit.
And just to be clear, we say we want them prosecuted, convicted, and then sent to jail where they belong.
Yes, exactly.
We want to fit them for their best-looking orange jumpsuit that we can get for them.
Exactly.
We'll even get them the MAGA orange jumpsuit.
That would actually be fantastic. Orange color. They'll hate that. They'll hate every second of that. I love it.
But
it's gonna be orange. It's gonna have MAGA at the back.
Let's hear a little more about the burn bag issue, because that's an interesting topic to me. That's a bombshell that came out this week.
Why did they do it? Although the why to me seems readily self-evident. Whoever was involved was trying to conceal evidence that they didn't like, things that might implicate them. And it doesn't matter if the material was classified, you still cannot destroy it if it relates to an investigation. Go ahead.
One of the documents FBI officials allegedly found in the burn bag were the classified annex, to former special counsel John Durham's final report, which includes the underlying intelligence that he reviewed. Why would that be so critical? To me,
so just to keep things in line, what they're talking about is this 29-page document was basically an addendum to the Durham report. So it basically codified what exactly was done to get to the point of accusing President Trump of being a Russian spy, a Russian asset, a Putin puppet, everything they can come up with, because they lost the election and then they wanted to get him out of office as quickly as possible. So that was their second strategy. The first one was for Hillary to win. They thought they had it in the bag, and then Trump wins. So their plan B was, okay, now we need to destroy his presidency, and that's what this is all about.
That's critical.
Because it likely reveals many of the government actors who instigated and corruptly spread the phony collusion narrative, despite knowing it was totally untrue. So, it's the usual suspects. Was it Comey and his acolytes at the FBI, Brennan's team of CIA partisans? Was it Clapper, the Obama White House? They're all reasonable suspects based on the damning evidence revealed in just the last couple of weeks, leading to an official criminal investigation. And, in my two books, I identified all the people who appear to have lied under oath, committed crimes. So it doesn't surprise me that incriminating evidence of lies and lying people was slated for the incinerator. There was never a Trump-Russia collusion conspiracy, but there was a conspiracy to frame Donald Trump for collusion.
We're going to continue to follow this story.
And there you go. That is huge. I mean,
it was a conspiracy to create a conspiracy out of whole cloth.
Well, I guarantee you, these 5 that they're naming, Obama, Clapper, Comey, Brennan, and even Peter Strzok, there's a few more, but every one of those needs to be brought to account, and the evidence needs to be presented to a grand jury, and the grand jury should indict based on the evidence, and then they should be put on trial, and then let's see how it works out.
People have to understand, a lot of the reason that we even have the FBI, a lot of it came out before the Cold War. You want to know why the Soviets were able to steal our nuclear secrets? Is because we had law enforcement totally unprepared, totally political, because of the Democrats. Officer Clancy in New York beating you up for Tammany Hall. That's what our police used to be in many urban areas, political actors. And so the FBI was part of not having that. Now we have a politicized FBI. Now we have invented conspiracy theories about our president again and again. We saw this before with other cases. We're not tolerating it anymore, because let me tell you, folks, we cannot have an FBI who is not prepared for spies coming in, stealing our stuff. We already saw that with Fang and what's his name, Blowhard, whose name I can't even remember anymore.
Swalwell.
We can't have this, guys. If we have an FBI who's
Swallow well.
I bet he does. Whatever they tell him to. We can't have that. We can't have these people. We need to have punishment, because at the end of the day, we're coming up on a World War kind of footing in the world, and we can't have an FBI who's making up conspiracy theories about our president, really, on behalf of foreign powers and domestic enemies.
Well, just a little trivia. I've been watching this series on Fox Nation called Wanted Dead or Alive, and it's about it's episodes. Each episode is about a public enemy that was back in the late 20s, early 30s during the Depression, and that's where the FBI came to be. It started out as a federal investigative entity guided by J. Edgar Hoover. It didn't become the FBI until later on, but they were the ones that hunted down the gangsters. John Dillinger, Babyface Nelson, Ma Barker, all of these gangsters back in the day from Chicago, and a lot of these things took place in the Midwest and Iowa, and these people were going around robbing banks and stuff. Bonnie and Clyde. I mean, that was where the FBI got its foothold, and that's where they made their mark.
Thanks to Democrat-run prohibition.
Yeah, the old FBI, or the early FBI, interestingly enough, they were educated people. They were lawyers and other types of educated individuals.
The best of the best, and that was rare for law enforcement at the time.
But they had zero experience with firearms and how to fight. And then, of course, the gangsters had the high-powered stuff, the
Tommy guns.
Yep, the Thompson submachine guns, the automatic rifles. I mean, these guys were armed, and when the federal agents would go up against them, they were outgunned, and that's why some of them got killed. But that just strengthened the resolve of the FBI at the time, and then they went after and got one by one. John Dillinger was public enemy number one until they killed him. Then it was Babyface Nelson. Then it was Ma Barker.
Notches on the pistols at that point. And now look at our FBI. And now look at our FBI, folks. That is what you need to feel. You guys need to feel what our FBI used to be, something to be proud of, something which used to protect us from communist agents, from criminals with the worst kind of mentalities you could think of. And now they're busy doing stuff like this.
They went from organized crime to spies within the country, to the radicals of the 60s. And
the footstools of the Democrat Party.
And then they just continued to grow in their power. But it's been actually described, it is a national police force, basically, is what the FBI is. And today's FBI is extremely well armed, extremely well. Their technology is the best. They are the number one investigative law enforcement organization in the world, and
this is what they're doing with it.
In the last 10, 20 years, it's been corrupted by people like James Comey, and it's a shame that the good agents that we have to be muddied along with these clowns that call themselves leaders. So these people are traitors. I mean, I don't care what anybody says.
Completely.
They should be hung for treason. That's the way I see it. If they're convicted, and if they charge them with treason and it comes out, what else can you call trying to undermine an existing sitting president? That's treason.
Especially this way. I mean, this is beyond the pale of that, and that's why it can't be allowed to happen. It really can't.
Yep. So we'll keep an eye on that, but that's going to be a big story moving forward. It's developing fast, and I think we're going to learn a lot more here in the next couple of weeks. So I'm totally locked in on that topic because I want to see those people get their due.
Amen.
All right, we move on to another topic, and this one I'm going to let you take the lead on, and that was the oil and gas industry.
Oh, we are so happy about this right now. And I bet that almost none of you have heard about it because the media is not talking about it. The media is totally, I don't know where they are. They're totally crickets. And you know why? Because it's a huge victory for Donald Trump and a huge victory for the United States of America. I am talking about a big, big deal. A big deal.
In Scotland on Sunday, US President Donald Trump and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen announced what they are calling the biggest deal ever made, agreeing to a trade pact that sets tariffs at 15% on exports from the European Union to the United States.
Despite the clouds and winds over Scotland, the world's two largest trade partners were able to break through with positive news, effectively ending an escalating trade war. Ursula von der Leyen, president of the European Commission, called it a huge deal following her successful meeting with President Trump at his Turnberry golf course. This was only the pair's second encounter and their very first official face-to-face.
We have stabilized on a single 15% tariff rate for the vast majority of EU exports. This rate applies across most sectors, including cars, semiconductors, pharmaceuticals. This 15% is a clear ceiling, So no stacking, all inclusive.
The deal exempts important goods such as aircraft parts, natural resources, and critical raw materials from tariffs. However, President Trump also expected concessions in return, and by all accounts, he appeared satisfied with what the European Union has agreed to provide the United States.
Very important, they're going to purchase $750 billion worth of energy, so that's going to be great, and $600 billion worth of investments into the United States over and above what they have.
Despite the last-minute deal averting Trump's threatened 30% tariffs, Europe walks away bruised. The agreed 15% rate is steeper than the UK's 10% deal, prompting backlash from some politicians across the bloc. Brussels had prepared retaliatory tariffs, but ultimately backed down, leaving many to see the outcome as one-sided.
Now, how about that? Did we hear about that in the news? That's half $1 trillion, more than $500 billion will be entering the U.S. economy. Did we hear that hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars worth of oil and gas? And you know why this is, Hugo. The Europeans want to replace their dependence on Russian oil and gas. Well, guess what? Us in America, we're ready to drill, baby, drill. And I have some numbers on that. Our Colorado produces 5 times more crude oil than we ever have just a decade ago. We are the 4th largest oil producing state in the country. We make 4% of all the nation's crude oil. So many of those billions could be coming from Colorado if we didn't have politicians sitting on their butts, not getting oil and gas permits done, not drill baby drilling. If we had that here in Colorado, we need to have that here in Colorado now. You all know our good friend Adam Dorito. Shout out Adam. You know he always talks about oil. Yep. Thank you on the show last week. And we are shouting you out because your industry deserves attention right now. Our president just brought $1.5 trillion. There was something else in that report that was not mentioned, that billions of dollars worth of military goods will also be produced and sold to Europe. Who produces military goods, Hugo? We here in Colorado. So we here in Colorado, thanks to this amazing trade deal, have just won an amazing economic boost if we elect politicians next year who will open the floodgates. We need to elect people who will drill, baby, drill, who will lower taxes, who will support the military industry that we need to give Americans good-paying jobs so that we can make some money off them Europeans. They weren't happy about paying more money, but they got to pay their fair share. It's about time. Happy to bring that to you folks.
Yep. And if we didn't have a governor like Polis that basically hates and has destroyed the energy industry in Colorado, losing tens of thousands of jobs and having oil-producing companies pick up their stakes and moving to North and South Dakota and other places and back to Texas, and then they complain about budget shortfalls. They literally ran $1 billion worth of tax revenue out of the state, and then they want to gripe about, we don't have enough revenue.
Well, yeah, they can stuff it because the numbers, I'm going to give you the numbers right here. We make over 500,000 barrels of oil here in Colorado. The price of oil by the barrel, $70. We could be making $40 million a day on this deal. And yet our fools who run us, will not let us drill that liquid gold. They will not let us plug up those budget shortfalls. They will not do that because they're afraid of American success.
They get the governor and his merry band of legislators at the Capitol. Those are the ones that you
Mary
need to
is
be,
right. All hail the Queen. All hail Queen Polis.
You need to be paying attention, folks. We've got elections coming up next year. And if you want more of the same, then just keep voting for Democrats. Okay?
But if you want some of that sweet, sweet trade money, elect Republicans. Let's build up the military. Let's lower taxes. And let's drill, baby, drill.
Yep. It's like my friend at KNUS, Mr. Jeff Hunt, always says, "Stop electing Democrats."
And you guys will be seeing him in person, courtesy of Colorado, of the Hispanic Patriot Podcast.
Yeah,
Colorado
we'll talk
Hispanic
about
Publishing
that
very
soon.
I'm jumping the gun, Hugo. Let me jump the gun.
You're jumping the gun.
I'm
All
from
right.
Chicago. I'm not allowed to have guns. I'm inexperienced with them.
We're going to take a quick break and feature our new feature of the show. It's called
You guys are going to love this.
Word of the Day.
Word of the Day.
And the word of the day today
Palabra de la
is
dia.
very apropos. Obtuse. Spelled Obtuse. And it's an adjective, and it means annoyingly insensitive or slow to understand. In other words, I'm talking about you, Democrats.
And we're not just talking about your former mail outreach woman who you fired recently. Obtuse in different definition, if you will.
And the synonyms to that word are you ready? Stupid,
I'm ready, Hugo.
Dull, slow-witted, slow, dull-witted, and unintelligent. Now, I couldn't describe Democrats any better if I had to.
Well, if the shoe fits, then I would say you got to give that shoe to an illegal immigrant. They deserve it better than you do.
All right. So there you have it, folks. Let's pay attention to the oil and gas disaster in Colorado. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Governor Polis.
Yeah, really, Governor. You're really setting us forward here, Mr.
Yep.
Queen.
All right. There's another topic that's on the horizon here in Denver. And some of you, probably a lot of you, have heard of the term ranked choice voting. It's a cancer to regular voting. Everywhere it's been tried, people want to clamor back to their old system. I'll give you in Alaska, that's a good example. They went to ranked choice voting. They hate it now. They tried to undo it in their last election. It barely failed, but I got a feeling it's coming back to try to get out. But we have some geniuses here in Denver at the city council who, and by the way, this was on the November ballot here in Colorado last November, and it failed. Okay. But never let that stop our geniuses at the Denver City Council who think it's a good idea to introduce it into Denver elections. So they've been studying it and they're trying to promote it, and it's going to be voted on this coming Monday at the Denver City Council to see if they want to put it on the November ballot for Denver elections only. This is not a Colorado issue. This is Denver.
But they're going to make it a Colorado one when if they get it for here.
Well,
right?
That's the ultimate goal. But for right now, this is Denver City Council. So I'm hoping cooler heads prevail, and we'll have to report that after. We can probably follow up on this next week. But pay attention, folks. Get familiar with ranked choice voting. It is not a good system.
No.
It is not what the founders intended for this country, and nobody should have it. There are some states that have it, okay? For the most part, if I'm reading the leaves right, people are not happy with it because it basically just bastardizes the entire election system.
It's a good idea that makes everything worse is basically how I would explain it, and there's no way to make it good.
And it's a backdoor attempt to undo the two-party system. Some people don't like the two-party system. I'm here to tell you, America is a two-party system, okay? And until a third party is viable and can present themselves and get into the battle, so to speak, we're going to remain a two-party system, okay?
And to be honest, I'm actually one of the few people who actually support the two-party system because I see other systems, Japan, and I know we got to move on very quickly, but Japan has something very funny, which is they call it the 1.5 party system.
Yep.
One party basically controlled. That's what the Democrats want here, folks. That's not what we're going to have. I'm going to tell you this right now. You don't want a parliament. You don't want to have elections every single time to make sure that the guy who runs the legislature becomes president. You don't want that. America's great system, perfect system in that sense. It's fantastic. However, I understand people's frustrations. Don't swallow poison pills to solve problems that can be solved with rationality, folks.
Yep, absolutely.
That's all I got to say on that.
So let's not ignore this issue, folks. Get familiar with what it is, study it, go look at states that have been doing it, and see what a disaster it is.
And we at Colorado Hispanic Patriot will be keeping you, or Hispanic Patriot Podcast will be keeping you updated on this as it goes along.
All right, a couple quick points. We found out today the cause of death for Hulk Hogan, and it turns out that it was cardiac arrest and that he was suffering from leukemia for a while. I did not know that, but that was the cause of his death. And, you know, there are some animals in the WWE who actually were applauding his death that did not they hated Hulk Hogan for various reasons.
Not in a fake way either.
And these people are sick. That's all I got to say on that. I'm not going to.
Yeah, me and Hugo were there. You remember that. We were there with Hulk. He called us the real Americans. We will never forget that. And we are Trumpites. We will carry that name. That's funny.
We got, we had the privilege of seeing him at one of his final national performances, and it was off the wall.
But hey, Hugo, our fans can actually watch that because we have a video of it, and you can find it right there in the description.
Absolutely. And then the other issue that came up just a couple days ago is the 8.7, actually 8.8 magnitude earthquake off the coast of Russia that caused a lot of tsunami panic throughout the Pacific.
Including here in California, in America.
Well, yeah, all the way from the upper tip of Russia all the way across Hawaii was in the path, parts of Alaska, and the entire west coast of the U.S.
Coming from Russia, I'm sure some of the NORAD guys had a scare for a few seconds before they realized there was an earthquake.
Think about it, though, the 8.8 is one of the top 10
it's huge.
Earthquakes. It's huge. Yeah, it's huge. It started out reported as an 8.1, and eventually it became an 8.8. So that's just huge. And we have to watch and see what's going on with that, because you can get into a lot of biblical references about that.
Yeah,
earthquakes, rumors of floods, wars, etc.
Rumors of wars.
It's all in Revelations, folks. So pay attention.
You want to familiar yourself with the last chapter of that book, folks.
Yep. All right. So we want to close out with a little promo, a shameless promo, we'll say. It's our show.
Very much so, because you guys are not going to want to miss this. Tell everyone.
It's our show, so we're going to do it.
And we do it right, folks. You will see that. You
don't tell me what to do. Here it is. This is our flyer for. It's called the Town Hall for and by the People, Tuesday, August the 12th at 6:30 p.m. It's going to be hosted by talk radio host Jeff Hunt. He will be our moderator. We have 4 elected officials: Mr. Mark Baisley, current state senator; Scott Bottoms, current state representative; Ken DeGraff, current state representative; and newly elected Linda Zamora Wilson, new state senator for the state of Colorado.
Look at that, folks. 2 House members, senators, governor candidates.
Yep. 2 of them are governor candidates, Mr. Baisley and Mr. Bottoms. And just for clarification, we invited other candidates who declined the invitation. So that's up to them. I mean, I feel like we've got a good panel, and this town hall is a truly effective town hall for the people, because all the questions will come from the audience, because we want to know where the audience mindset is.
No, that's what makes us different.
And we'll be able to learn what issues are important to the voters by this town hall. This is an early town hall in the campaign. So we're going to use the information gathered at this town hall to prepare for future events during the campaign going into next year's election. So
that's why we need you there.
Yep. If you can make it in person, please do so. It's first come, first serve. We have close to 200 seating, but it's first come, first serve. And by fire regulations, they will not be able to pack it beyond that. So there will be security. So don't think that you can come in and just walk in. So we want you to enjoy the event. It's free to attend, and it's at the church at Briargate in Colorado Springs. If you can't make it in person, if you take a look at the link there, that link will give you access to the live stream, because we will be broadcasting the entire event via live stream. So we welcome you. We want your feedback. We hope you can make it. And if you can, I think you won't regret going, because it's going to be an event that makes the news, I think. So anyway, that's what we wanted to remind you of, and we'll remind you again next week, because this event will take place a week from this coming Tuesday. So we'll do another promo next week.
And you want to come and see and meet.
Yeah, and you get
Hugo in person.
The bonus is you get to meet me and my intrepid young co-host, Nicholas.
So all you folks from Denver, all you folks from local style around here, you finally get to meet the man, the myth, the legend himself. You don't get down here to Colorado Springs too much, do you, Hugo?
We'll sign autographs.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will.
Bring your hats, whatever, and we'll sign them.
Well, these guys got to start looking out for Hispanic Patriot merch, because it is coming. And if anyone would like to help us, we have our donation page on our website. Help us grow. Like, comment, subscribe. We need every single one, because we love each one of you guys.
Yep. And I hear the music. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Hope we laid out some good information for you. As always, give us some feedback and tell us what you'd like to hear about, and we will accommodate. So thank you again.
Always listening to you.
Yep. Thank you for tuning in. God bless you. God bless America. And God bless our president.
God